All right. So what we're doing is we're winterizing the hive, and we're going to be moving all of the honey and the nectar all the way down to this end and taking any partially developed comb and empty combs and trying to move them this way, so that what we're doing is building many electric blankets. So honey to the bees is really important in the wintertime because it's more than just their food, it's also their electric blanket. So what we're having is the bees heat that up using friction, and as they heat that honey, it holds temperature. So they can easily heat up their hive to 90 degrees even in a 50 degree below zero day. But that's only done when they have a vast amount of honey to work through. Now the neat thing about having bees that build their own comb is that it's made of wax, and they can melt that wax and make a hole in it to get to the other side anywhere they want to. So what you'll find is bees will push their heads in head first into the comb, and they'll dislocate their wing muscles and shiver. And as they shiver, they heat that wax up. And as many of them all go head first into the comb, they're able to heat up that comb and heat up that wax. And what they'll do is they'll eat every other one around, and then they'll heat this whole block of wax up to 90 degrees, and then they can wait a little bit because it takes a long time for that honey to cool back down. So that's the way they can conserve energy, a little bit of work. The deal is they want to keep their queen from getting too cold, frostbite, because if she starts losing her lady parts so she can't make babies very well, that's bad news for the hive. So they've got to keep her warm, 92 degrees, all winter long. And they do it over and over and over and over and over again, and hopefully they have enough electric blankets, enough honeycombs in the hive to make it till springtime. And that's one of the reasons why we use the harvest box, to save honey so that we can add it in along the way if they need an extra added blanket. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the hive and take a little bit more of a look at what's going on inside. And as I do that in this warm weather, I'm able to harvest some of that propolis that they use on the sides to seal it up. And so what I can do is pick it off or peel it off. You can see it's kind of squishy. I can squeeze it like caulk. Eventually that's going to get so cold that it won't be like caulk anymore, it'll be brittle. And so what I'm doing now is I'm going to peel off some of that stuff and stick it in a jar, because what I can do with it is freeze it and then put it in a coffee mill and grind it down to a fine powder, and then create medicinal tinctures, make hand salves and ointments that have a little bit of the bee's antibacterial, antimicrobial strength, because that's what this is. It's antibiotics. So at another time we'll show you what you can do with that propolis. But right now we're going to go a little bit further into the hive and see what else is going on. So I'm cracking it open again. And we've got a bunch of bees. And if we look closely, you can see that there's a bunch of nectar in there. So they filled all the way out to here, and they're all working hard to bring in more. I'm going to take a little bit closer look here. Now if you look down, you also notice that we're using these spacer bars. Let me pop one of them off. So the spacer bars are a way that we can switch from bedroom comb to pantry comb. So bedrooms are all the size of a bee, and the size of the bar is exactly the size of the bee. When we get out to the pantry, we want the bees to be able to grow their comb a little bit wider. And so if we stick these gaps, these sticks in between the bars, it allows the bees to make their honeycomb a little bit wider. Their pantries don't have to be the size of a bed. Their pantries can be a little bit bigger, meaning they can store more nectar, more honey in them. So that's why we put these in different places along the way. It's to help them to build a more spacious accommodation for all of that food. If you come closer, you'll see here on the side something that starts to happen to the honeycombs. when we go inside of the hive, you can see that the bees have made brace comb. They've created honeycomb attachments to the side walls. Because this is getting heavy with the honey, they want to be able to hold it up, and so they'll put a little bit of brace comb on both sides. And I can see that brace comb when I look through the window. I can see that that comb is attached to the sides. So if we see, there's a different looking comb right in there. And so what I do is, with my hive tool, I can go in here and I can cut that brace comb. And do the same thing on this side. And now when I crack this open, I've got a much heavier bar that's about half full of capped honey. Looks like they're staying up along the top with all of their honey work that they're doing. And now we're getting to an even bigger one. What I might see as I look through the window is that some of those are beginning to cross a little bit. If I come over and I take a look on the side here, I can see some of these are attached. Here you can see clearly the attachment that you don't see on some of these other combs. So here's an attachment here and here, a little walkway for the bees. They can walk in between here and up and down, as you see they're doing. And there's another little walkway right there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cut those attachments off and lift that comb up and just see how they're doing. And what I've done is I've gone a couple of them in, because I see here, if you come back around here again, you see here there's a little bit of funky comb going on. So it looks like they're doing a little bit of an air movement shift here, where they've turned a corner, and I can't tell if it's into here further, so I'm just going to take a couple of bars and split them. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. Feels like this was an example of it doesn't. Yep. So, this is a great example of what not to do. We didn't break the burr comb on the side, the brace comb, so when we lifted the bar up, it tore all the way across here. So see how it's separated off? Now the bees are going to have to do a little work trying to fix this up. This is because I didn't cut the comb like that. Now if we take a look and see, this honeycomb comes right out. Unfortunately, we kind of made a little bit of a mess for the bees. Now what I can do is I can use my zip ties and tie this thing back up, and I'll probably do that and show you what the result is of it as we go a little bit further. But what I have found is that they're all the way up to full comb right now. So since I see that the hive's already at full honeycomb this far in, I'm not going to go any further in, just because I know that they're all right, and clearly there's plenty of bees here that are working hard. So I don't really need to worry about it. My hive is healthy and wanting to continue its job. I just need to fix this little bit that I screwed up for them, and then make sure that they've got enough nectar to be able to keep on eating and filling this hive as they go.